Tonight on the Black Channel, we have now officially rest beyond Jim Crow 2.0. We are now all the way back to Dred 2021. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting super fortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media. And this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically Black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. 120,000 strong and rising. I'm very glad to have you all with us here this evening, and join us you shall, because on tonight's program, I did a program a decade ago, 5 Steps to Nazi Germany, and YouTube has done everything they can to try to suppress that and everything, but the program is out there, it's gotten out and whatnot, and I've told you all what the 5 steps to Nazi Germany are. How did the Jews end up in Nazi Germany? What was the systemic circumstances that led to that? What are the cues in the society that you can look at, everywhere, any place on earth? And if you see things shaping up this way, just understand that you all are on your way to a repeat of what happened to the Jews. First and foremost, people will whisper against you in their homes. They will sit around their tables, they will make up slurs, they will call them jokes, but in their homes, they murmur against you. That is the first step. That you, sitting in your house, you are so hated by them, they make it a point to come after you in their home, to teach their children. So when you go to your job, when you go wherever it is, you find yourself being targeted. You're not really sure it's clear exactly why it's happening or how it would happen. Why are they doing this? This is the practice that they have adopted in their homes. That is the first step. The second step is they begin to speak against you in the streets. Now they've moved it out of the safety of their homes. They brought it into the society. It was contained and quarantined in their homes. Now they brought it out into this greater society itself. They're not just talking to their family around the table. They're talking to their family, their friends, and this common discourse on the streets. And you will find yourself running into it directly, even if you don't try to. That is the second step to Nazi Germany. People who don't like you are no longer keeping it in their homes. They're now bringing it out into the street, into the greater society. Step number 3, the media begins to chime in with it. So now you are no longer dealing with individuals somewhere. You're no longer dealing with folk just in their houses anymore. You're no longer dealing with people on the streets. Now the media apparatus, the national discourse apparatus, is now speaking against you. So now it has been nationalized in the society, normalized in the society as far as speech. Next comes the politicians. Now there's been done in the home, now outside of the home, now that the media has latched on, the politicians are now going to get involved. The politicians are going to now start making legislation that targets you in particular. They start making legislation that stacks the deck against you in particular. They start focusing against you. Now we've got policy. Public policy is now against you. You are now enemies of the state. You are now legal aliens. So it used to be that the society was talking about what they would do for the citizens. Now they're getting together to talk about what they would do against your good. Public policy is now against you. And last This is the one that everybody always leapfrogs to. But last, you end up with vigilante. You end up with the deputization of the citizens against you. That now it is legal for people to take vigilante action against you anywhere and everywhere you are. We are now officially at the 5th step of Nazi Germany. We're there now. Everyone wanted to ask me before, Jason, you always said we were step 3 or 4, and then more recently we were step 4 for the last couple of years, step 4. Brothers and sisters from around the world, we're at step 5 now. We are at step 5. And the judicial apparatus is always against us. The political apparatus now has made a public policy, and they have now greenlit us in the streets, anybody and everybody. They are making everyone a protected class except the only people who have been targeted. They're now telling you that black people are the oppressors. So this is the way they're flipping it now to say black people are the oppressors. And of course, if we are the oppressors, then action has to be taken against us. We are the people most in need of oppression. And now in this Orwellian flip of events, they're telling me, oh, no. You're not in need of oppression. You're in need of control. No. We don't need to do anything else to protect you. As a matter of fact, society needs protection against you. And the news media has been in overdrive. They think they found the method to do that. We found a smaller white. You're a minority that the whitest majority has gone after, but we found a minority smaller than you, and we got proof that you're targeting them. Therefore, we need to deal with you. And they've already started acting on it. And I want you all to listen, because the things I'm going into tonight, these are things that are not law. There is no written law that allows these distinctions. You can go look it up for yourselves. There is no law. That's the point. They've always told us they can't do things because there's not a law that allows it, but there is no law that requires this. But they are now enacting things that are not written laws. Things that they told us they can't give us protection because it's not in the books. And you're hearing them now acting on it. Acting on it. First and foremost is what you see on your screen right now. This is a screen capture here from the CBS affiliate in New York, and CBS, and the TV stations in New York have really been in hyperdrive targeting black people across the board. This is for an arrest, and I want you to listen to this news story. I want you to listen to this. It is absolutely unbelievable what you're about to hear next.
Breaking news now. A plainclothes NYPD officer stops a racist attack in Chinatown. CBS 2 News has learned exclusively that...
All right, now, first of all, did you hear how they opened that? A plainclothes police officer, quote, stopped a racist attack in Chinatown. Sounds serious. Wait a minute, before you sit here and say, well, good for them, wait a minute, you need to get the details. Because this is beyond propaganda. This is just corporate news hate speech at this point. Wait until you get the details. Because you might be assuming to yourself what this means, but you're about to find out that literally everything she just said was a complete lie. Everything. Listen very carefully.
PD officer stops a racist attack in Chinatown. CBS 2 News has learned exclusively that Sharon Williams was arrested tonight, accused of harassing the Asian staff inside a nail salon on Madison Street. Police say she made slurs, threatened violence, and said, quote, "You brought the corona to this country." Well,
there you go. That is what constituted the quote-unquote racist attack. You heard her say it was a racist attack, and then when asked for the details, you heard what they just said. No, that was the quote racist attack. No, I'm serious.
Staff inside a nail salon of harassing the Asian staff inside a nail salon on Madison Street. Police say she made slurs, threatened violence, and said, quote, "You brought the corona to this country." Williams was allegedly harassing another Asian person outside when a plainclothes officer, who also is Asian, intervened. She then allegedly started insulting the officer as well. Now, last month, the NYPD.
So she was arrested for hurling insults. Do you know how many white folk hurl insults at black police officers every single day? And that has never been considered a crime. White folk make racist. Y'all remember the famous story of the black female in California? Wasn't it? Black police officer in California, and this man was sitting here calling her a monkey and a coon and a nigger and everything else there. That guy was sitting there in his handcuffs for like 20, 30 minutes. He was never charged for that. He was being arrested for something else. That has never been cause to arrest somebody. Since when has it been illegal to do that? Because black police officers have never been protected by that. This has never been cause to arrest someone. When did this begin? Especially in New York City. Don't have me sit up here and ask the black police officers in New York City to call me up tonight. Since when has that ever been an arrestable offense? When has that ever been an offense? People, I mean, you heard what they just said here. Did you hear? They said this was a racist attack. And you all are sitting here like I am, waiting for the part about, okay, when does the attack begin? They are now, as we've always known, black folk have always said the problem is white supremacist violence. These folk are now telling you that, well, black people are just as racist. Show us where we've ever violently attacked someone. Well, words are violence. Well, if we're going to use that standard, then y'all got a whole bunch, 10 times more to pay us for. No, what's said to you is just you being thin-skinned. The only thing they can lay on black folks is you'll find one or two outliers out there somewhere and say, they said something I didn't like. And that is about as much as they can get. We're talking about black folk being dead. They're comparing black people being murdered and killed to somebody hearing something they didn't want to hear. I mean, this is beyond Orwell. This is beyond Orwell. And this is today. This is right now. And she's, by the way, one more thing, she's not the only one. I've been telling you about this for a couple of weeks now because they're now saying that black people saying something that Asians do not like is, quote, an attack. So what they're doing is telling you, okay, we're going to make it legal for y'all to smoke weed. We're now going to penalize and mass incarcerate for you saying things that people don't like. Now, we will not arrest anyone for verbally attacking you. We're going to call words an attack. Other people can verbally attack you. It's not a hate crime. It's not an arrestable offense. Anything they do to black people is permissible. And the reason why I call tonight's program the new Dred Scott era is, you'll remember, Roger Taney had said the black man has no rights that the white man is obligated to recognize. So if they got a choice between rescuing a person in quicksand and rescuing a mule, if you're black, they can rescue the mule, and that's perfectly fine. Now, if you, on the other hand, have a choice between rescuing a mule and rescuing a white person, you better rescue the white person every time, or you will find yourself being prosecuted. So what it is, they're telling you there's a separate set of rules for you. Totally separate set of rules. And now we are actively enforcing them. So when you go into a Asian restaurant, they can talk to you however they want to, they can say whatever they want to, and all you can do is file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. But if you say something they don't like, all they have to do is just say, oh, well, she said something wrong about me being Asian, and all of a sudden you can find yourself arrested. One more time, I want to play this again so that you all hear this and hear exactly what this ridiculous newspaper said was a, quote, breaking news about an attack in Chinatown. And this is what they said the, quote, attack was.
NYPD officer stops a racist attack in Chinatown. CBS 2 News has learned exclusively that Sharon Williams was arrested tonight, accused of harassing the Asian staff inside a nail salon on Madison Street. Police say she made slurs, threatened violence, and said, quote, "You brought the corona to this country." Williams was allegedly harassing another Asian person outside when a plainclothes officer, who also is Asian, intervened. She then allegedly started insulting the officer as well. Now, last month, the NYPD increased patrols in Asian communities as a strategy to prevent and stop anti-Asian attacks.
All right, now one other thing. When they said that she threatened violence, you realize they didn't say what it was that she said that was allegedly threatening violence. We all understand as Black people, merely your presence constitutes a threat of violence. That's the thing to remember. If you are Black, merely standing there, we've already established that with Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, and Tamir Rice, your mere presence constitutes a threat. So what they have done now is they've deputized every Asian in New York City, California, Texas, Florida, Seattle. They have now deputized Asians to pick up white supremacist powers. And okay, we can't use white people to do this, so we'll use Asians to do this. And our fingerprints ain't gonna be on it. And you can't say that we're puppeteering and whatnot. And they're minorities too. So you can't say that they're a proxy because they're minorities too, aren't they? Any arguments that you make for Black folk, supposedly you can use it in defense of using Asians as their proxy. No, they're minorities too. People, this woman was arrested for hurling insults at Asians. She was not arrested for hurling insults. Let's be very, very clear. She was not arrested for hurling insults. She was arrested because she hurled insults at Asians. That is it. Now remember the what was it, Central Park Karen that put the billboards down in New York and called the police on a Black man who told she was her dogs on a leash. Understand that woman actually did something. She misused 911. It was very clear what she was doing there. This woman here did nothing of the sort. She wasn't, the white woman was not arrested for hurling insults. Please remember that. She was not arrested for hurling insults. What was her name? Amy Looper, whatever her name was. She was not arrested for hurling insults. She wasn't. White people don't get arrested for hurling insults to Black people. Asians don't get arrested for that. People, listen to me. They arrested this woman for hurling insults at an Asian. That is it. She was not arrested for hurling insults. They do not arrest you for hurling insults. They're telling you that she was arrested for hurling insults at an Asian. Black folk are sitting up here with folk hurling insults, and then especially in New York City, it happens every minute of every damn day. Nobody is showing up. There is no anti-Black racism task force. There are no plainclothes. Do you understand how many folk that Black police officers would be arresting by the minute? If they had to arrest every single person, if they were allowed to arrest every person who hurls racist statements at Black people, do you realize that mass incarceration, they would be filling up Yankee Stadium every day with whites, Asians, Latinos. They would be filling up Middle Easterns. They'd be filling up every day if you were allowed to arrest people for hurling racist insults at Black people. They would be arresting them by the thousands every day if Black plainclothes police officers were allowed to do that. Are you freaking kidding me? If you allowed the Black plainclothes police officers to do that, they'd be arresting people every damn day. There's videos on World Star Hip Hop, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, TikTok every day of white people verbally attacking racial epithets of Black folk. Nobody's being arrested for that because they don't arrest you for that. They don't arrest you for that. You just saw it here. They just told you, yeah, we can do that. And then they made a perp wall. Take a look at all those cops out there. They're out there like it's damn me Al Capone or Richard Kuklinski being brought in. Take a look at what they did here. Take a look at what they did. So much. Oh, by the way, where are your feminists? I want to know where your feminists are. Where's Tarana Burke? Where's Gloria Steinem? Where are your feminist roots? Where's the Me Too crowd? Where are they? By the way, I'm just asking for a friend. But by the way, where are they at tonight? I'm waiting. I'm looking. If you can find them, you let me know. You let me know. So far, I've been unable to locate them. People, we are well down the road now. We are on the fifth step to Nazi Germany. We're there. We're not on our way. We're not going. We're not going to get there later. We're here now. We are here now. The gloves are off. The games are stopping being played. They are now doing anything and everything. You don't have any rights anymore. You don't have any rights anymore. They have deputized the entire society now of non-black people. They have outsourced the white supremacist tripwires and practices. They've outsourced that to non-white people now. They've outsourced it to every non-black person, starting with the Asians, but it'll go to everybody else. Asians, Latinos, everybody else is a protected class, but they are only protected against black people. Did you catch that part? So we said that black folk need to be a protected class. What they did was turn around and say, okay, everybody is protected except black people. It's like affirmative action. We need, you have been targeting us to not give us jobs or access to the economic system. We need to have specific preferential treatment for the economic system. And now they said, well, you know what, we'll give everybody preferential treatment to the access to the economic system, except black people. Everybody gets affirmative action, except you. We'll get to you later, but everybody gets affirmative action now, except you. Well, now everybody's a protected class, except you. Everybody is. So all you Negroes who are running around stomping for Ski Harris and Biden, I just want you to understand, you did this. All of you who sit there and act like this is a game, you did this. I'd be very interested to find the voting status of people who are out here getting hemmed up and arrested. I'd be very interested and very curious to find out, by the way, who'd you vote for? I'd like to know who it was you supported. Did you think this was going to turn out well for you? As they have now told you that black people, the society needs to oppress black people more. That's what they're telling you now. Society needs to oppress black people more. Now they really need to lock down on us because, well, you see, they're dangerous. We need to protect the Asians. We need to protect black people from dominant society. No, you don't. We need to protect Asians from black people. That's what we need to do. We don't have time to protect the race. We have to protect Asians now. That's a priority. We got to give them a priority. We got to protect them from you. We have regressed beyond Jim Crow 2.0. We are now all the way back to Dred Scott. That's what I'm telling you now. We have progressed all the way back. It is no longer about Jim Crow 2.0, people. We are back at Roger Tarn. We are back at you have, as public policy, you have no rights. It is on the evening news. They are now on the evening news saying this. This is how far it has deteriorated. If you're still calling this Jim Crow 2.0, you're behind. If you're still calling it that, you're behind now. You're not really acknowledging the gravity of this situation. It's not Jim Crow anymore. We're back at Dred Scott. We're back at 3/5 compromise. And actually, before the compromise, we are back at Dred Scott 3/5. We're back there now. It's open policy, and it's everybody against us. All the things that we warned you about, all the Negroes who spent all these years trying to tell us about how blacks and Asians would have this minority coalition. All these other folk have gotten together with the dominant society. That's the coalition against us. There's a coalition, all right, exactly what we told you what it was. Yeah, the coalition is against us. Is against us. Tonight is going to be a fully stacked program. We got a lot of ground to cover here. Before we do, though, we're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. We're going to go ahead and take care of that real fast. And when we come back, I'm going to update you on some more things out there so you can be aware of exactly how far this is deteriorating. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program, either by Streamlabs, PayPal, or Cash App. Thank you to my man, Eddie N. Angela, thank you very much as well. My girl, Rhonda, I appreciate that. Maurice Tariq L., you're that dude, and everybody who's contributing on PayPal. Thank you very much for your support. When we come back, more from the new Dred Scott era. This is the Black Channel.
Within us is a powerful spirit, a God-given spirit. It's a spirit that empowers us to oppose the modern white supremacy. A spirit that motivates us to eradicate racist lies with Black truth. This spirit was alive during the rebellion of 1811. The spirit catapults us towards righteous justice. This is the spirit our opponents fear. Is the spirit of 1811 alive in you? Visit us at spiritof1811publishing.com. Buy our novel, War of the Heart, on sale today at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Spirit of 1811 Publishing. Our story, our family.
Aliens descend upon the city and discover melanin. They notice the people. They exploit the people.
Why are you doing this to me? Because I enjoy it. And because I can.
What type of payment do you want? Do you see me? I have this. I want this. And I deserve this.
Join us for the new Dred. You can find on YouTube at The Urban Gods, spelled with a Z. Channel on YouTube.
Yes, for less than $100, ladies, the deeper bundle is going to change your life. You're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get one ankle band that's going to be good for Tony who's trying to get faster, but 3 booty band that's going to cut that backside look so good from behind. It's going to be fuller, rounder, and you get 1 power band that's going to be good for working your upper body, stretching. For $79, you can travel anywhere with this. It can be a nice balance physique, but still emphasize the what to be right. $79. Go right now to solidnessfitnessworld.com and enter discount code Fluid Radio and save 15% on your bundle order.
She said she had a big feet. I was around $200. I said, okay, I'll help you. So he intentionally tried to put in $30, but he fat fingered the hell out of this and put in $3,000 and sent the money off to her by mistake. And when he finally realized what happened, and then of course he goes to message her and call her. And after about 500 calls later and 10,000 texts later, well, he just realized she was all gone.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Black Boy. We're very glad to have you all with us here this evening. As I've been tracking different things, I want to touch on something very, very briefly here. I want to thank everyone who stays engaged with what we do here. I want you all to understand we are the Black media. I don't play this. I'm not bowling ball Martin. I'm not sitting at home with a gallon of iced cream and a 20-pack of Krispy Kreme donuts, you know, and not watching what the hell's waiting for an email from either Democrats or a corporate sponsor to tell me what I can and can't talk about as long as it's not for Black people's interests. So that's not me. I stay on top of these things. And since we did our program about Bruce's speech, I understand, yes, folks, some of y'all are very easily excited. And you're like, well, Jason, did you see that? First of all, don't fill up my email. There's a reason why you don't have to do that. I stay on top of these things. I have not talked about the recent events in Bruce's speech because I was talking about it before the events took on a life of their own. I was talking about this here. This is why we are the Black media, because it puts political establishment will notice that this is on the map when we start talking about it. So yes, I am aware that Ms. Hahn out there, they're talking about they want to give the land back to the family. Some of y'all read the headlines. They're going to give it back to the family. No, that isn't what they said. What they said is that they want to put forward legislation. That legislation will have to make it through California's legislature first, and then it will have to be approved at the county will then have to pass a measure to do that. So what we're saying is there's lots of opportunity. If you think this is going to be a quick and easy process, you don't know anything about politics. Clearly, you haven't been paying attention. So some of you are just headline readers, and y'all saw a headline that said that we're going to get back to you. No, that wasn't what it said. What it said is that they're looking at legislation. We've all seen this before. This is how they screw us. We don't read the legislation, and when they get done, next thing you know, they've taken back everything they gave you and then some. So, folks, we don't count proposed legislation. I want to see what legislation says, and then if I approve of it, I also want to know about the damages that you owe them, because this is not about legislation. They are owed damages. How dare you sit there and give them some of the most expensive property in California and then not make sure they got the financial means to keep it? Hell no. That needs to be given back to them. They need to be able to develop it into what it was for: hotels, inns, diners. They need to have damages to make sure that they can do whatever they want to with it. And then after that, I start counting it as a win. To be totally honest with you here, I don't even have time to do that, because understand something, I'm an activist at this. This isn't about just Bruce's Beach. Some of y'all heard about that. You ready to already do a rain dance and a celebration march, a victory lap. Hell no, this isn't about Bruce's Beach. They owe us across tens of thousands of communities, families everywhere across this country. Bruce's Beach is just one of many. As I said in that program, every Black person in America has a Bruce's Beach story in their family. Every single one. So even if they did pass this in Bruce's Beach, I'm like, okay, one down, 1 million to go. So don't expect me to sit up here and do a victory lap about that and whatnot. The war goes on. The battle goes on. This is just one among many. This is one among many. So yes, I am aware of the events. I know about it. I knew about it then. I'm not counting symbolic gestures, people. I want to see what comes across the finish line. And then we will have a discussion. It'll be a very brief one. Words of Millie Fuller. If we do celebrate, it's going to be a very brief celebration. It's going to be, okay, what comes next? And Negroes always love to stop and start celebrating. I'm not here for that. What comes next? Unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Jason, ain't you going to stop and have a breather and celebrate? Yeah, let's celebrate. All right, celebration's over. Back to work. That's the way it goes. Now, there was a story here, and if you're following me on Twitter, you can see what I posted about this before here. Good morning, America. Man, the Disney Corporation just ain't gonna quit. The Disney Corporation just isn't going to quit. Now, this guy right here, and boy, I'm telling you, some folk here, there's just so many levels of wrong here. There really, really are. There are just so many levels of wrong here. But all right. Well, don't worry, we will get into it. We will get into this. Anyway, and his name is Antone Austin. That's him and his girlfriend. And they found themselves, well, he found himself in a precarious situation. And boy, I'll go ahead and let Michael Strahan and friends explain to you all what happened, but some of y'all don't take this seriously. This guy didn't take the situation seriously. Feelings will be caught and handcuffs will be had. That's the price.
Camera footage of Los Angeles police arresting a Black man who's simply taking out the trash. TJ Holmes talked to Antone Austin and his girlfriend about the incident. He joined us now with more. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, Stray. And add now to the lexicon of hashtags, taking out the trash while Black. We're about to show you video of an incident that took place nearly 2 years ago, but we're only seeing it now as part of a racial profiling lawsuit against the LAPD. Many parts of this you will find disturbing and chilling to hear police admit, as they're arresting this man, that we don't know who we're looking for.
All right, now, first thing I want you to understand, you all know how the game goes. Now, when the police actually have something when the police are actually innocent, it doesn't take years to get the body cam footage. It doesn't take years to get that. It's taken years to get this footage because they're guilty. Now, when the police are innocent, they release the damn footage within hours. They release it within hours. But when they're guilty, you got to file lawsuits, and it takes years to get the exact same footage. Exact same footage. So just understand something. That's the first thing I want to point out to you here is just recognize that it took years and a lawsuit, and then years after the lawsuit before the footage was even released. That's the reason why it happened in 2019. Happened in 2019, and we're just seeing it now. Now, this is the reporter that you're hearing talking. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm doing this for a reason because I want. There's a lesson to be learned here. There's a life lesson to be learned. So I'm going to go ahead and back this up to the beginning with Michael Strahan. We're going to go ahead and start this over again because I don't want you to miss any of the details.
Newly released body camera footage of Los Angeles police arresting a black man who was simply taking out the trash. TJ Holmes talked to Anton Austin and his girlfriend about the incident. He joined us now with more. Good morning, TJ.
Good morning, Stray. And add now to the lexicon of hashtags, taking out the trash while black. We're about to show you video of an incident that took place nearly 2 years ago, but we're only seeing it now as part of a racial profiling lawsuit against the LAPD. Many parts of this you will find disturbing and chilling to hear police admit, as they're arresting this man, that we don't know who we're looking for.
I have one question to ask you. Will anyone here name for me last time that an Asian person in Los Angeles was arrested for taking out the garbage? Someone explain to me, when was the last time that you heard or saw of an Asian, a white person, a Latino who was arrested for taking out the garbage? And wait, folks, don't get ahead of me. Wait until you hear everything involved, because as bad as it sounds, it only gets worse.
You're hearing the desperate screams of Anton Austin, a black man who was simply taking out his trash when 2 Los Angeles police officers approached to arrest him. This newly released body cam footage shows part of the disturbing incident from May of 2019. The LAPD was responding to a domestic violence call. But police spot Austin from their vehicle taking out his trash and listen as they decide to approach him.
So you might not have heard that clearly. Listen to what they said as they decide to approach him. Is this him? Probably. That's what the police said in the car. Is this the guy we're coming for? Probably. Okay, but then you find out later, actually, that can't be. Listen.
Because I told you to turn around.
But police spot Austin from their vehicle taking out his trash and listen as they decide to approach him.
Turn around because I told you to turn around. Bro, I live here.
Turn around because I told you to. People, because I told you to is not a crime, and it's not a justification either. What are you approaching me for? Because I told you to. No, that's not the way that works.
Taking out his trash and listen as they decide to approach him.
Turn around because I told you to turn around. Bro, I live here. Got a call. Okay, man, I don't know who I'm looking for yet. Come on, turn around, man. What is your problem?
You hear the...
Now you heard that. The cop said, I don't know who I'm looking for yet. This is how blatant and brazen it is in the LAPD. You heard the cop say, I don't know who I'm looking for yet.
Got a call. Okay, man, I don't know who I'm looking for yet. Come on, doing, bro? I live here. Gotta call. Okay, man. I don't know who I'm looking for you. Come on, turn around.
So, come here. Why? Turn around. Why? Because I told you so. What are you doing this for? I don't know. I don't know who I'm looking for. People, could you imagine this happening to a white woman or an Asian? Oh, wait a minute. Stick around.
Ow, man. What is your problem?
You hear the officer admit he doesn't have a suspect description, but continues to arrest Austin, who continues to question the police. Tensions rise.
So, by the way, Bill Bratton went from LAPD to New York and then back to LAPD. Folks, this is stop and frisk. This is grab any black person walking down the street will do. This is stop and frisk. This is stop and frisk. That's what this is. Or should I say stop and arrest? This is it. This is racial profiling. And the worst part about it is they're admitting that they don't even know, they don't even have a description of the person that they're going after. They saw a black male, well, grab him. That's literally what you're hearing here. We don't have a description of the suspect. We see a black male taking out his garbage. Well, grab him.
Austin yells for help. His girlfriend says she heard Austin's screams from the shower and rushed outside, trying to intervene, and ends up in the struggle and is disrobed in the process. Both were arrested. The couple is now suing the city of Los Angeles.
What was your reaction once you went back and actually saw it all play out and you got to actually hear the officers in the car before they got out?
In your mind, you want to say to yourself, the first thing, this happened because I'm black. And then you won't want to be that petty. You don't want to be that small. You don't want to really believe that people's thinking was really that on that low of a scale, right? And then when you watch the footage and you hear the guy in the car, like the girl in the 911 call told them to go to a restaurant that was 3 blocks away from my house.
All right. Folks, I'm going to come back to him in just a moment. Exercise some patience. Let's stay on subject. We're following a train of thought. We'll come back to him in just a moment. Some off-code folks. Y'all are living your lives off-code. And it's the 21st century. You shouldn't be caught with your drawers down like this all over the damn place. We'll come back to him in just a moment. But let's deal with what he just said there. The guy they were looking for is 3 blocks away.
Hear the officers in the car before they got.
We don't want to really believe that people's thinking is really that on that low of a scale, right? And then when you watch the footage and you hear the guy in the car, like the girl in the 911 call told them to go to a restaurant that was 3 blocks away from my house.
Austin's neighbor, who made that initial 911 call about her ex-boyfriend, did not give a description of him to the dispatcher. That neighbor can be seen in the video telling the officers Austin was not the man she called about.
All right, now, the reason why I have this picture here is the one, you can see the neighbor is over here on the right-hand side of the screen. This is the neighbor who called 911. So if you wonder why I got this picture up here, this is her. As you can see, the neighbor is white. I did this because I wanted you to see it. By the way, very clear right here that there may be some other things going on. We don't get to that. We don't get to that.
But they can not give a description of him to the dispatcher. That neighbor can be seen in the video telling the officers Austin was not the man she called about, but continued with the arrest. The attorney for Austin calls this a clear case of racial profiling.
Police should not move up and immediately think this person is a criminal. And unfortunately, that's exactly what LAPD did.
Neither Los Angeles police nor city attorneys are commenting to ABC News. Austin fought for the release of this footage and says he's relieved the public now gets to see what he went through.
It's crazy that they can just convict you. And they're supposed to be there as mediator, there to serve, protect, find out what's going on. That they in their minds are the judge and the jury, and they're going to convict you on the spot based on what you look like. It's really eye-opening, It changes the way I look at a lot of things.
The city of Los Angeles did fight the release of that video, saying it would have a chilling effect on police investigations down the road, and it was against policy. Anyway, now Tone and his girlfriend have since moved from that neighborhood. They are seeking $3 million in damages, but they also simply want an apology, which they have not got. And guys, one other thing, their attorney says that the suspect, the police were actually after was a white man.
Wait. Will someone please tell me, when was the last time you heard a white couple tell you that the police came up and harassed them, arrested them, and they were looking for a black suspect? In the history of American jurisprudence, when has such an incident ever occurred? Will you please tell me the last time that an Asian person had a story like this to tell? The police were looking for a black suspect, so they grabbed me and my Asian family as we were walking into our restaurant. Can you tell me when this has ever occurred? And black people have stories like this every single day. We got stories everywhere. It takes us, for the ones who can actually afford to get an attorney, it takes years and years and years to even get to this point. This only made it to Good Morning America because they've been suing them for years and years. And have you ever heard anything like this outside of black society? Kiss my ass, trying to elevate someone above us. No, everybody here has a story like this. Nobody else anywhere in any other sector of society has a story like this. This wasn't hurling insults. That's the point here. This wasn't hurling insults. This is wrongfully arresting somebody and then saying, oh, we can go ahead and do this. But I'm just saying something. The reason I wanted to talk about this tonight is for a different reason. I wanted to, first of all, talk to you about this tonight because I want you to recognize something. Take a look at your screens, and I want you to recognize something. Because Good Morning America is trying to act like everything is everything on this. That's not what I want you to take a look at. I'm going to do this real close. I want you to see that. People, now that you've heard the entire story, why in the hell is there a question mark after the word arrest? Will someone explain to me why in the freaking hell there is a question mark after the word arrest? There's some questions. Even as black people, it's always alleged, supposed. For those of you that I was sitting up here, exaggerating. No, I'm not. It's all for us. It's always it's alleged, it's supposed, they believe, we're not sure, it's under investigation, it's questionable. People are asking, we wonder. Well, Jason, that's just the way that the media does things. Oh, really? Oh, really? Asian attack in Chinatown? Where's the question mark after attack? I'm listening. Because if this is just the way that the media does things, will someone explain to me where is the question mark after attack when they were talking about the Asian? When it's black people, when there's something happening to black people, it is always, always, always alleged, supposed. It's their turn to be dense. They say, we're not sure. There's a question. People are asking. We wonder. But now when it's black folk, all of a sudden, oh, nigga, there ain't no question about this. Oh, all we need is the video. Actually, we need video. We just need somebody to make an accusation. And that is a fact. When it is you, it is always an indisputable fact. It is not alleged. It is not believed. It requires no further investigation. If you're black and accused, nigga, you did it. You did it. But when it comes to these other folk here, all of a sudden it's we're not sure. Well, I mean, it could be wrongful arrest. We're not certain. I mean, yes, we know that you're innocent, and yes, we know you're just taking out the garbage, and yes, we know that your neighbor called the police on her boyfriend, and yes, we know that you're not her boyfriend, and yes, we know the boyfriend's 3 blocks away, and yes, we know that the neighbor's boyfriend is white, and yes, we know that the neighbor came down during this entire thing right here from the police as they were dapping you up to saying, he's not my boyfriend. My boyfriend is 3 damn blocks away. He still got arrested in ABC and Good Morning America and the Disney Corporation. I must bring this back to who owns it. The Disney Corporation says we're not sure if this is over. We are not going to sit here and use our corporate airwaves and our corporate leverage to make a specific determination that this was a wrongful arrest. We are still holding out hope that they can justify what they did. understand that. We are still holding out hope somehow they will be able to justify what it was that they did. They'll figure out some way to make this right and make this okay and make this justifiable. I'm bringing this to you here because I want you to understand the magnitude of the enemy that we're up against here. Disney has literally access to hundreds of billions of dollars. And when I talk about the 5 steps to Nazi Germany, they are sitting up here saying, man, we're not even pretending anymore. The police can just grab you and arrest you, and literally there is no reason for doing so. Now, do you all understand something? They can't do this to illegal aliens in Los Angeles. Do you all understand that? You can't, what they just did to this fella, you can't do that to illegals in Los Angeles. It is literally, these cops would literally have already been indicted by now. Do you understand that? In Los Angeles, illegals are protected. Now in California, they're protected. I want you to understand, under the exact same circumstances, the police could not have come out, even for a domestic incident, they couldn't have come out and just grabbed the first Latino or illegal they saw out there. They can't do that. I want you to understand that you're not grasping the gravity of the situation. Literally, what you just described here, you can't do that. Even if you know, you can't ask them from you. You can't just grab them and say, well, they were out there. You can't do that. But what they're letting you know is that illegals are protected, gays are protected, Asians are protected, black people, it's open season. You have no sanctuary. You have no protection. If you're black and you don't have car insurance, they can pull you over, they can arrest you, they can kill you, they can impound your car. If you are an illegal, they cannot impound your car. So if they can't impound the car, there's no reason to stop you, even if they think you don't have insurance. There's no reason to stop you because they're protected. So if you don't have to have insurance, the only way that it'd be a problem is if you're doing reckless driving or something. But this black male, the guy's just like, well, they told us there was a guy, or at least they're claiming that there was no description. Well, they said where it was. Yeah, but we see a guy outside the place. Let's go ahead and grab him. They literally could not have done this. If it was an illegal alien, they could not have done this. I want you to understand this. Now, there's a little bit of housekeeping that must be done. It must be done. I would be remiss in my duties as the black media if I did not do this. If I did not say this, if I did not mention this, I would be negligent in my duties. Brothers and sisters from around the world, quite frankly, some of you Negroes just don't get it. Some of you don't get it. I am not going to blame a black man for the misfortune that may befall him, but I have got to tell you, when I see a fellow like this, they get with their suburban girlfriends from the valley. They believe that they have graduated outside of black society. They're going to grab the first non-black thing they can, and they are just ready to show you all they start with we're all Americans talk and their racism is behind us and all this old bull crap. When they start that, even as he was talking to them about what happened, I just don't think it's that small. He wasn't even trying to be black in that circumstance. He's like, look, I done sold my soul to the Becky, okay? We over here now. Sure enough, he's out there with the matching shirts because he believes that he has brought her into his realm of influence. And he found out real quickly that the white police officers who ran up on him and let them know pretty damn fast, oh no, nigga, you're still in our realm of influence. And let's just be very, very clear. The police know the racial makeup of that area. The police know the racial makeup of that area. They know the neighborhood. And I am willing to bet you any amount of money that you want to that they know who this guy is. He's like a music producer, by the way. So he's not just some anonymous individual out there. He's actually like a music producer or something. So he's not really broke like that. He ain't balling, but he's not broke like that. So I guarantee you They know who he is. I guarantee you they know who this guy is in the area, and they also know that he got a thing for running up on these white chicks and whatnot. They know who he is. He's the bed buck in the neighborhood. He's one of these local rap producers or whatever, and he's out here in the white neighborhood. He's running through all the white chicks. As evidenced by the fact that their white neighbor, you can see she's not overweight or whatnot. She came down immediately running, so she knows these people. She knows him. She knows his girlfriend. Has he laid up with her? I'm not going to make any characterizations about that, but I am going to say he strikes me as the kind. I mean, take a look at him. Take a look at how tall he is. I don't mean to get way out in the woods, but let's just keep it real. Take a look at him. He's tall. He's in shape. Slightly tatted up. So if they want some of their thug, they want to have their black male bed buck thug fantasy. This guy is certainly going to accommodate that. He's certainly going to accommodate it. So let's just keep it real. For the white women who got a taste for some black men in that area, this guy right here is Exhibit A. Let's just say it like it is. I'm not going, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, can we just keep it real? This is what they look for out there. This is their little dark black male fantasy. It's their Mandingo fantasy operating. How much money he's in the neighborhood with that not? I'm not sure. But there is one thing I do know. For all of this would-be bravado and machismo and whatnot, I don't remember what was happening as soon as the police put hands on me. I remember you wasn't sounding thugged out. You sounded a bit more
You
like...
hear the officer admit he doesn't have a suspect description, but continues to arrest Austin, who continues to question the police. Tensions rise. Austin yells for help.
He was yelling for help to his girlfriend.
Austin yells for help. His girlfriend says she heard Austin's screams from the shower and rushed outside, tried to intervene, and ends up in the struggle and is disrobed in the process. Continues to arrest Austin, who continues to question the police. Tensions rise. Austin yells for help.
He's yelling to his girlfriend, help. Yeah, it sounded like he wasn't built for that thug life like that. He really wasn't. So, all right. I look, fellas, I don't know what to tell you all out there. And by the way, yes, this picture is so damn cringe. For those of you, if you haven't seen the Sita Bay picture with Sita Bay and her boyfriend, with both of them wearing King jackets they were wearing. I mean, if you want to go check it out, you can. I mean, this stuff was just so cringe. Because what it shows you is that there are people who just do not get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't understand. They're not trying to get it. They think it's a game. People, this is not a game out here. It really isn't. It's not a game out here. You can play that game if you want to, but I'm just letting you know it's not a game. Y'all are out here trying to tell yourselves that it's all about sexual access. People, there's no room for the mindset of focusing on sexual access on a damn battlefield. If you are focusing on sex on a battlefield, what it really means is that you have embraced extinction. Oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going there. Oh, yeah, I'm sure as hell going to go there. You damn right I am. I sure am. Let me go ahead and zoom in so that you all can understand something. Because Negroes like to learn their lessons late. Here's what tends to happen. They like to learn their lessons late. Yeah, let me make sure we get a real close up on here so you can see. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, it looks familiar. I mean, boy, all of a sudden everybody wants to go and be Mork and Mindy. Yeah, we're ready to go sit down now. But what you mean, that black empowerment stuff? What you mean, that black... Man, get on with all that old pro-black stuff. Get on with all that there. I ain't got no need for that there. I got my car and my bag. I don't need none of that. You don't know. Y'all niggas all don't you know racism's in the past? We ain't got no room for that there. We ain't worried about that. All the old black stuff you talk about. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. There you go. I just want you all to be able to see this here so that you can understand Jason ain't making this up. Not making this up. Everybody's got their damn post-racial fantasy and whatnot. And then white supremacy rears his head. And as soon as white supremacy does that, then all of a sudden, ain't no more fantasies going around out there anymore. Yeah. See, it was real when this happened. When this happened here, it was real. That's when that occurred. When that happened, you found yourself on the 8 ball. It's like, yeah, all that old post-racial stuff, yeah, that's not going to make it. You can say whatever the hell you want to do. That's not going to make it.
You know, the first thing will just happen because I'm black. And then you won't want to be that petty. You don't want to be that small. You don't want to really believe that people's thinking is really that on that low of a scale, right? And then when you watch the footage and you hear the guy in the car, you know, like the girl in the 911 call told them to go to a restaurant that was 3 blocks away from my house.
So y'all notice he's got the damn, he's got the coon whiny voice. He's got that little coon whine. Yeah, you should hear that. First of all, you think it's just laughing. I mean, I don't really want to get small on it. You know, all the coons, the corny coon boys. They break out their cornball coon boys. He's sitting next to her, so he wants you to understand. He ain't like the Negroes over there and whatnot. Okay. Some of y'all just don't get it. Some of you are just refusing to accept reality. Some of you have just divorced yourselves from it, and you think that's going to work. In a damn war zone. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not saying it because it sounds cute. I'm saying it because this is reality. I'm saying this because this is where you are. I'm saying this because this is where we're at today. We're not on our way to it. We're there now. We're there now. And this is a fellow who's sitting in Los Angeles and not ready. That's the point I'm making to you. He's sitting there in Los Angeles, and from NWA to now, and he ain't ready. He's not ready. He went to a white neighborhood or a neighborhood that's got enough white folk in it. He was telling himself, man, that's it, I'm home free, bro. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to go home. I'm going to take out the garbage, get my toes done, and that's it. I'm done with that. Sit down and make some music and stuff. He's going to make music for a black audience, and then take a look at what's going on at home. And that's it. He's done. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm through with that. You all just need to understand, life is hard. You should try to act like it is. Because understand, if he's talking like that to the media, this is what he says at home when he's with her. He says this at home with her. Ain't no racism. Ain't no racism. Ain't no white supremacy. Folks is just ignorant. Sometimes we got to deal with people and their, quote, ignorance. That's what he's going to say. Sometimes we have to deal with people and their, quote, ignorance. So, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Or at least he thought he knew what he was doing. And I can't help but notice, yes, California. I mean, you all remember Stephen Clark. Oh, yes. If you didn't think I was going to go there, you are dead ass wrong. You're damn right. We're going there, all right. We're going there. Does anybody remember Stephen Clark? Remember him? And remember how he was talking right before the police showed up? Remember? He was up there in Sacramento. But remember how Stephen Clark was talking? Wasn't no white supremacy then. You got chased by the police, it was your own fault. He's sleeping white and Asian and everything else. The Asian girlfriend's alive, he's dead. A whole bunch of fellas out there trying to live in the fantasy world. They'll mock us over here. Now they'll mock us and all that old black stuff. Anybody trying to get that bull jive. As soon as the police slapped cuffs on him, he started figuring out blackness then. You're not going to play this game. You're not going to play this game. Just understand, you're not playing with us. You think you're playing with us, you're not. You're only playing with yourself. You're not playing with us. You're not playing with dominant society. They already know the deal. This white girlfriend knew the deal. You're not playing with them. You're not playing with them. You're just playing with yourself. You can tell yourself that it's not an issue. You can tell yourself it's post-racial society. You can tell yourself, if I can just get out the hood, I can just leave it alone. A lot of y'all are cowards looking for a place you can hide. There ain't no place you can hide. There is no place to hide. There is no place to run. You can run, but you cannot hide. And even if you try to run, you won't get very far. That is the nature of the beast. That is it. That is as far as it's going to go. So I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't at least acknowledge that I understood what was going on here. I would be remiss in my duties if I didn't do that. If I didn't at least acknowledge that I know, I was like saying, my UC folks were saying, Jason, did you see that? Yes, I saw it. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I saw that, by the way. That didn't escape me. That in the year 2021, you see that some folks out here telling themselves they can opt out. People, ain't no opting out. There is no opting out. Come on, there is no opting out of this. You're not going to opt out. Tell yourself whatever beautiful lie you want to, but you out here with the rest of us. That's where you are. You're out here with the rest of us. And you can go to any neighborhood you want to. You can dress as cornball as you wish to. You can lay it with all the bickies you want to. When white supremacy rolls up the block, it's over. It's over. And that was it. They could have killed him where he stood, and that would have been the end of it. And that is the situation that we are literally in right now as Black people. This is where we are today. It's not a game. It's not a joke. I've been telling you about it forever. And this is it. This is it. You can be arrested. If Asians accuse you of insulting them, you can be arrested. And if a white person calls the police, they can just grab you wherever you are, and both the court system and the police and the media apparatus will all come together to defend not you, but to defend the police against you, to say you're on for arrest with a great big huge question mark around it. Was it really wrongful though? And by the way, they let that Chiron down there for the entire piece. They let that thing down there. Bottom of the screen, that was down there for the entire duration of the entire piece that they did. It was down there the entire time. They had it on there the whole time. It was just down there, as they're telling you about the situation, it was down there the whole time. It was down there with a question mark the whole time. That was not accidental. That was not accidental. That was deliberate. That you're hearing what's happening to them while seeing wrongful arrest with a question mark the entire time. No, you don't have to take the situation seriously. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe any of this. Look, folks told me, Jason, what's it going to take to wake folk up? I said, I don't have to wake anything up. White supremacy going to wake you up. To say or do anything. They going to do all the saying. They're going to do all the doing. They're going to do all the saying. They're going to do all the doing. You can sit wherever the hell you want to. You're not going to get that. They're going to make sure they knock that down. But I'm not going to be the one who has to convince you. White supremacists will convince you. You don't play dumb. Remember Dr. Francis Chris Wilson said, white supremacy plays dumb, black folk like to play dumb along with them. You can play dumb. What you going to do when they stop playing? Oh, you're going to swing for the chick. That's what you're going to do. However, enough from me. The telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence, the only one that's high in the cosmos. The telephone number is on your screen. You can go ahead and give us a call tonight here. We're talking about the new Dred Scott. If you call in, please make sure that you're in an area that's quiet and keep your comments brief and on topic for tonight. Very, very important deal. We don't want you monologuing. We don't want people wandering off into other things. If you want to do that, call that in a different room. Tonight's not the night. Telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Give us a call. You can weigh in if you'd like to. We are in the new Dred Scott era. That's where we are. We're in the new Dred Scott era. You have no rights. You have no rights. You have no protections. You have no anything. This is just where you are. This is just where you are. You have no rights. Nothing. Nothing. And to add insult to injury, well, this in the New York Times, well, to add insult to injury, not only are you not in need of protection, why all the stuff that you said you need, guess what? We found the money for it. We found the money for it, and we're giving it to empower everyone who is not you. So black people, you can get a $1,400 stimulus check, but the state of New York is taking your taxpayer dollars, taking them from black people and dropping them off with non-citizens to make sure that they remain economically viable and able to be an opportunity upper class against you. This is New York there. They didn't give a little bit of money. This is going to patch a lot of things together. You know, I told you before, they can't just give a little bit. These folks have to be subsidized because otherwise they will drown and fail. And you need them to be upper class against you, which means it takes a large amount of money is what they need to be able to do. A large amount of money. These aren't taxpayers. They're illegal aliens. They don't pay taxes. And New York State is taking money from black folk who pay taxes, giving it to illegals who did not pay any taxes and will not pay any taxes in the future, but we need to make them viable. Yeah, folks, when I told you all tonight, the program is full of stats. And if I keep going, we can keep going and keep going. This is Dred Scott era. See, nobody's making the funds to do this for you. Take a look at it everywhere we go. Pandemic stimulus payments to this, state levels, everybody everywhere is making sure they keep all these other people economically viable. This is where we are today. They got to stay economically viable. And they're spending billions on it. This is just the beginning. And by the way, this is in addition to what the federal government is doing. This is in addition to that. This is not just New York. It's New York State doing this in addition to what the feds do. Because and understand, New York is a major enclave for black people. Well, Jason Robbins is doing so much within New York because that's a major enclave for black people. And it's not enough to just do it in New York City. You got black folk in Rochester, Westchester, Albany, White Plains, Spring Valley. You know, you got black folk all. I know these are a bunch of areas a lot of you haven't heard of necessarily, but Albany, New York, there's a lot of black folk in Albany, New York. So going outside of just that New York metropolitan area, we get outside of that. So it's not enough to just knock them down in Harlem, West Harlem, Brooklyn, the Bronx. It's not enough. You're going to have the whole state in on that. So yes, they're making sure that they are fully funded in the entire state. Make sure they're fully funded. Let's go ahead and take a few phone calls here. We get called up in area code 404 on live Black channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Go ahead and get you live. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, Jason? This is Doug from Atlanta.
Doug from Atlanta. What's your name?
Well, big brother, in the so-called black mecca of Atlanta, police officers did what's necessary to pull you to the side, ask you what high school you graduated from, who you hung out with during your years in high school, and whether or not you practice a martial art or what martial arts you practice, just because they saw you reading the ISIS papers. So the whole stop Asian hate thing, give me a break.
Ain't no Asians being beloved like that. So, yeah.
No. Oh, and I was going to ask you something else. No, not for you, but to any possible red pill cats that are on the phone right now. What y'all got to say now? I want to hear what y'all have to say on this little situation in Los Angeles with where that guy drew down taking the garbage out. I want to hear their opinion on this.
Very good point about the manosphere and men are oppressed and whatnot, and that we really gotta watch out for the Yeah, very, very good point to make right there. As a matter of fact, I understand the point you're trying to make. Is what I made there. It's like, yeah, your manosphere is going to stop when you start getting interracial sexual access to white women. Then all of a sudden, we're going to put the brakes on. So you're absolutely right. There's that so-called man coalition they were all talking about. Yeah, that died a very quick, very ugly, and very predictable death. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Other folks thought they were going to get back up. They thought they were going to get back up from the white red pill communities, the white red pill dudes out there arresting you and yanking up the white girlfriend and whatnot because she's off code. Caller from area code 973. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey Jason, this is Jay from East Orange, New Jersey.
Jay from East Orange, what's going on?
So we gotta give props to the new black media for the amount of pressure you put on the United States government and the media. This Asian anti-Asian narrative is clearly because of what you and Professor Black Truth have been doing since the election and all the executive orders they've been writing to pretty much protect Asians and this and that. And once you guys put that out there with that steady drumbeat, this is their counter narrative that, well, black people hate Asians now. You know what I mean? I think it's a counter narrative which proves that you guys are, we as a people are doing what we need to do. We're effective.
I mean, absolutely, they had to do this because this may be the last,
right.
2020 may be the last national election they had. So they're just going with stuff that is just upsetting everybody. They're upsetting white folk. Yeah, but they got to bum rush the door now because 2024 is not guaranteed. The things that they want to do to lock it in place, it isn't guaranteed. They got really, really shook. Take a look at how long it took them to actually even get ratified for this election. So they're like, look, screw the nonsense. Bum rush the damn doors. Just do it. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be sloppy. We might not have an opportunity to do this in 5 and 4 years. So get it all done now. And you can see they're just rushing through the most outrageous things as quickly as they possibly can. Yeah, because time is of the essence. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We get a call from area code 210. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Jason. It's Brigitte from Long Beach.
Brigitte from Long Beach. What's on your mind?
Well, I want to kind of piggyback off of what you just said right now. I'm a red girl, but I don't know if we have the same understanding of that. But when blacks hate Asians, when Kamala was running for president, the blacks here in California, he got canceled because of the blacks. So maybe that's where the black hate Asians is coming from.
No.
But I want to
another. N-O. No. Excuse me. N-O. No. That is not.
I know what your point is.
Okay.
Can I say something else?
Ma'am. N-O.
N-O.
No. That is wrong.
No.
You're wrong.
Okay. I'll accept that. But when we had the presidential selection, just after that, there was a couple videos that I watched on YouTube where people had their Alexa machines, from Amazon, and they were asking their Alexas who was the president of the United States. Are you there?
Okay. You got 5 seconds. You got 5 seconds. You're dragging on way too long.
Oh, come on, Jason. Let me finish my point. You got me losing track of what you're so quiet.
I'll give you time to go back and go get yourself together and you can call back next week. Jason, let me make my point. Sorry, can't do it. Call up area code 504. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Evening, Jason. Charles Jr. from New Orleans.
Charles Jr. from New Orleans. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jason. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you again for bringing up the 5 points Nazi Germany. I've been trying to find that video for a while now, for a couple of years. The question I do have is, now that we've reached the 5th step of Nazi Germany, is there a way to go back to lower steps, or are we there and we're going to have to stay there from this point on?
Well, I can tell you one thing. You teach society and you teach other people how to treat people. So our job isn't to get other people to like us. Our job is not to get other people to feel more humane. We shouldn't focus on whether they like us or don't. We should focus on whether they can harm us. So whether they get up one morning and decide they like us, or get up one morning and decide they hate us, they will not have the ability to harm us. And what I'm saying is, I think Jewish people learn the lessons of Nazi Germany. Take a look at what Black folk are doing, and take a look at the quantitative differences between how we have responded to an outrageously hostile white supremacist governmental social order. And it's made very clear that they're targeting you. Take a look at the differences between how we responded, and not just the differences and similarities. Take a look at the similarities. Once the case in point here, if you all haven't seen, I mean, this is, as far as I'm concerned, people ask about books and things like that. I believe read them. But go and take a look at the rise and fall of Nazi Germany. I mean, the rise and fall of the Third Reich. So you can pick it up on Amazon, they have it on the History Channel, whether it was the rise of the Third Reich and fall of the Third Reich. But you get the DVD set is the rise and fall of the Third Reich. And it was a masterful thing because I like the fact that it spent a good amount of time to the lead up to when the Nazis took over, the Night of Broken Glass, Kristallnacht. You know, I like the fact that it really went into detail, especially in something that folks don't like to talk about. The Jewish writers and the Jewish media people who were making excuses for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party right up until the news of Dachau broke. And they went back and they got the articles, they got these newspaper people, writers and whatnot, telling their people, don't worry about it, this, that, and the other. People are making up stories, it's overblown. Well, those Jews were just guilty. Yeah, they had their Jewish coons. They had their Jewish coons who were sitting there and they wanted to be accepted by the Anglos. They wanted to be accepted by them to the point that they were sitting up here cleaning it up while people were getting marched off to die, while they were being rounded up by the brown shirts and the Hitler Youth. Yeah, there were a number of people who were doing that then. And it looks eerily familiar and eerily similar to what you see among Black people today. So yes, there is a precedent for this. Yes, we have seen this kind of thing before. No, it did not end well. By the same token, we have the benefit of the hindsight of history to see, okay, and what did they learn from it? And from there, we can just bypass that part of it. But let's just get to the solution part of it. It's really difficult, but we are going to have to focus and really have to understand what did they do wrong. I guess if the number one thing I can say they did wrong is that they allowed other people to opt out, or they allowed other people to openly be off code. Now, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and discuss what you do to get folk on code, but there's plenty of examples out there and plenty of precedents. But if there was one thing that I myself could personally point to, what made them weak was from within. That they allowed and harbored individuals who were blatantly off code, who were doing what they thought was in their own personal best interest and betraying the best interests of the people. And if you allow that cancer to fester, you are marching to the gallows as a group. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. When we get called here at 929, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you come from?
My name is Daryl Ferguson. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
All right, Daryl from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Jason, first of all, great podcast tonight. And thank you for doing what you do. I'm chiming what the other gentleman just said. This right here is just one of the many things I've been trying to tell my cousin, about the situation dealing with the white boys and the children from there. He's just as black as anybody else. And sure enough, he had a situation where he got pulled over. They made him get out the car. And they told him that they asked him the questioning and everything like that. And he turns around and asks for her, and they handcuffed him. And they said, what did they handcuff you for? I said, they handcuffed you for having a girl like a car. That's bad. He didn't believe me. I said, you're going to get cuffed Monday. And he thought it was a joke. And I said, you're in this situation. You're in the box. This is real. This is not a joke. listening tonight, and to keep on pushing these things to him, and not just him, but a bunch of them. But we try and
well, look, here's the situation. Being black is hard. That's the real issue. Being black is difficult. Cooning is easy. Being a coward is easy. Running is easy. Pretending that there's going to be some sanction, that's easy to do. What we do, the reason why they mock us and being pro-black is because we do is hard. What they're trying to do, they're trying to figure out the easy way. And what people like you and me understand is there ain't no easy way. There is no easy way. Dude, you either going to take this straight up the middle. You are either going to go out on your feet or you're going to go out on your knees. Those are your two choices. Ain't no third option. Ain't no, I keep my head low, I can go out on my feet. No, you know, your head going low is the prelude to going on your knees. So you will either, you're going to go one way or the other. All you really do is choose. You only have control of choosing the way you go, but you don't have control of choosing if you go. Oh, you're going. You're going one way or the other. You'll go like a man, or you'll go like a mouse. That's the way it's going. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Everybody's trying to figure out some way to get around. Everybody's trying to figure out some way that they can get around. And they want some escapism, or somebody giving some of man, look here. Not gonna happen. All you're really gonna do is either A, make fool yourself, B, get yourself killed out there and die like you're gonna live like a coward and die like one. But this idea that there's some Becky you can hide up under and oh good, I'm not an old black thing. Being black is different. Being black is hard. And looking for a cowardly way to avoid it, that's the problem. Call up area code 502. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Jason? No, this is Red. I'm calling from Louisville, Kentucky.
Red from Louisville. What's your name?
Red, R-E-G, Red. My bad.
Red from Louisville. What's your name?
Okay. Okay, man. My problem is, okay, this whole NYC thing and in the Bay, this anti-Asian, all this is it's clearly something that they put together because I'm down here in Louisville, Kentucky, and Asian is irrelevant down here. We don't eat, like, we don't support the businesses like we used to, Chinese food and all that. Like, you got a lot of black people in restaurants and a lot of people who cater food trucks. Like, it's probably down here for black people. But like in New York, like the cleaning class and everything, man, it's just terrible. And as far as the woman getting arrested or whatever for the Asian assault, saying things, I don't feel sorry for women, like black women, they are weakest link, man, because they're the ones who constantly blocking these Asians, shot, getting the weed, and man, those black people and do all that. We don't gotta do that for them, man. Like, it's black people that do all that and do a damn good job. Look on Instagram. Anywhere in your local section, man, they got it popping. Women, nails, they selling hair, cook on food, soul food, barbecue. But man,
well, look, I mean, it's well, understand something right now. Certainly, the women are off code. But dude, I just finished doing a whole program here about a fellow here who's sitting with his girlfriend and it's off code. We got too many black folk who think it's safe to do that. Being off code is a real issue. And those of us who are on code, we are going to have to start making our authority felt. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Case in point here, I want to bring this up on the browser. So I'm going to try to bring it up if I can. If I'm a browser. Okay. So let's come back to that. We get call up area code 281. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Prince out of Richmond, Texas.
Prince out of Richmond. What's on your mind?
Jason, on my mind is that when you're dealing with this, a lot of these people, they're looking for a place to escape out of black society. And black people really don't like seeing other black people prosper. We have to be able to realize that we can't pocket watch other black people. If a black woman has a business, you need to be able to go there to a sister or brother, whoever you are, and not worry about how much money they're making. Okay? So a lot of what everybody wants to complain individually about all these other people, and what they're doing. But when it's time to do business, everybody's going to start shucking the shot. When it's time to, hey, what's the number? Okay, you want to do this. Oh, why you got to be so serious, man? You know, why, I thought we were friends. When it comes to money, we got to talk business.
Well, you're correct about that, Prince. I'm going to say something right now, but I don't want folks to understand. My opinion, I think it's very important. Among other groups of people, you have a power broker class. And I want to stress this next sentence I'm about to say, and I mean this in no uncertain terms. They didn't get where they are by default. The community didn't get to vote. You get to have your single mamas come out and weigh in on what they wanted. The schools didn't get to say, well, that's not part of our curriculum. The politicians don't get to say, well, you're not zoned. These other groups have power brokers, a power broker class, and that class makes its will known. You don't get to vote. You don't get to vote them into office. They didn't get voted in, they can't be voted out. Because power is not given, power is taken. And that's what we're missing. There's a whole bunch of complaining because the other issue is we got power brokers. The power brokers enforce the code. First of all, the idea that there is a code. There's a bunch of folk out there trying to pretend that there actually is not a code. Ain't that right, fella? A lot of guys out here, a lot of women out here, whatnot, trying to pretend there isn't a code. They get to make it up as they go along. When you're a power broker class, they make it very clear to you, oh no, there is a code. And you will toe the line. It's not up for debate. You will toe it. You will. We didn't come here to make a deal. We came here to tell you, here's the deal. And that's what we're missing. We're missing a power broker class that says, here's what the code is. Because when you come to the new black media, we're uncompromising. We let you know these are the rules. This is the code. There is no debate. There is no discussion. There is no round. This is it. These are the rules. And what that needs to have is concrete presence in the real world. Because right now, other than us, there's nobody really in a mass laden society trying to enforce a code and a set of rules. But that's what's missing right there. The complaints that we have isn't the idea that black folk, are sitting up here economically reminding themselves. It is that where is the deterrent to prevent that? Because understand something, among the illegals, they have a hierarchy, they have a power structure, and you will follow it. When you go into these communities and whatnot, the Mexican mafia is on the deck, they're there. MS-13 is on the deck, they're there. You don't get to make up the rules, they make the rules. And I wish you would be a Latina and walk past a Mexican restaurant to go with your black boyfriend to go to a black restaurant. I wish you would try it. Give it a try and see what happens. I wish you would be an Asian chick and try that. Now, some of the Filipinos, they can do that. But the Koreans can't do it. Chinese can't do it. I've been to Chinatown all across this country. The Chinese can't do it. The Japanese can't do it. The Koreans can't do it. The Vietnamese really can't do it. The Filipinos, they're a little bit different. But even going as far down as the Vietnamese and Laos and whatnot, Cambodia, they can't do it in their neighborhoods. They can't do it. So, and the real question you have to ask is, why can't they do it? The reason they can't do it is because once they come off that date with your black ass, they are going to immediately encounter the consequences if they don't encounter the consequences in the street before they get done. And that happens a lot. That's the element that is missing. Thank you very much for giving us a call, Brian. We get a caller from area code 208. You're on live Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from area code 208 is conducted. Caller from area code 646. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Melissa from Brooklyn.
Hello, Melissa from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Hello? Yeah, I called in last week to broadcast about what was going on with the attacks in New York, And I just want to touch briefly on the attack, the supposed alleged attack that happened in Chinatown. And we all know, like, everyone in New York is safe, know it's safe. Like, well, everyone black in New York know it's safe because no black woman is going to get her nails done in Chinatown, in a nail salon in Chinatown. That doesn't make sense. And then, on top of that, you just mentioned before you took calls, that bill that was designed for undocumented workers, and it just was so insulting because, like, the only requirement, I read the New York Times article, and it said the only requirement for undocumented workers to get like a one-time $15,000 fee is like you gotta prove your residence in New York State, and basically that's about it. It just boggles my mind.
Now, when was the last? I mean, okay, what they're saying is we want to do this because they've been economically impacted. Black folk have been economically impacted forever. Please keep in mind, the largest slave state in America was New York. Contrary to popular belief, the New York was the biggest slave state. The southern United States had to play a big game of catch up decades later. New York was the kingpin state of the slave trade. They owe black folk. All these corporations we talk about, whatnot, these are New York corporations. These are New York companies. These are adjuncts of the New York government. And they have never made financial restitution for black people, much less help black people. Black people have been economically distressed now because of New York for centuries. Nobody has suggested or put forth anything like this for black people. Ever, ever, ever. And yet, we come here and all of a sudden, we need to shore people up financially. We need to pass things for them without any, by the way, and understand how quickly that went through. Now, do you understand? That was something. Oh, wait a minute now. Where was the legislative fight over it? Because usually what you all are told in Albany or whatever is that it's always a fight about everything. It takes forever to get anything done. This didn't encounter any of the usual problems that you all are accustomed to hearing about coming out of there. Isn't it amazing how quickly things do?
Exactly, like, because there were things that New York Times the legislators and the governor, they were like watching the chamber trying to argue this thing out, and it was going so fast, and people, and even like, even white New Yorkers were like, this doesn't even make sense. The bill doesn't even make sense. Like, everyone was impacted because of the pandemic. But then I don't know if Mr. Your broadcast has seen the question, but last year when the pandemic first started, like in March, when it was officially declared, you had like all these reporters and all these like New York City council people like going on TV and saying, yeah, we need to support Asian businesses. We need to support Asian businesses. And a lot of people are like, yeah, Asian businesses are not the only ones that have been impacted by the lockdown. Like, what is this? What is this garbage? Like, you have black businesses that were impacted even worse. So why is the media going out this way and the local politicians going out their way? Like, please go. They're like begging people, go to Chinatown, go to Chinatown. And people are just like, Chinatown isn't the only place of commerce in New York City. Like, what is this?
Right. This is something that they've been working on for a while. This is not new. This is what they've always been trying to put and institute into place. Black folk have been pretending like this is a game, and the new black media is here because the old black media was telling you that there were no problems, or if there is a problem, black men are the issue, or those pro-black people are the issue. Meanwhile, all these other folk, as soon as they get together, this is amazing. Take a look at the legislation that they're able to pass quickly. That lets you know what they really believe and what they really feel about. They pass this real quickly. Then they're going to turn around and tell black folk there's no such thing as white supremacy. There's no need for reparations, and you don't need any help. After centuries, these other folk have only been they have not been more inconvenienced than anybody else. They have not had any more inconvenience than anybody else. Furthermore, they haven't even contributed to the system. They are not more inconvenient. They haven't been more impacted than anyone else. But they're getting help more than black people who have been systematically held down for centuries. No, you're trying to prop them up to make sure they stay over us. And black folk are taking that seriously. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We get called Mary 516. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Jay calling from Charlotte.
Jay from Charlotte. What's on your mind?
What's going on, Jason? Two things, man, real quick. I coached college ball for like 5 years, man. I had a lot of black young men, and they were running around on campus dating a lot of white women. I will always tell them, you need to be careful. And then we got, this was in Texas. Cops running around, pulling guys over, all types of stuff. And, any young brothers was not there. It's not a game, man. Like, you may be having a good time right now. They let you do what you want. You talk down in the sisters, whatever. It's fine. But understand that, it's real out here. And the second thing in regards to the New York stuff, like, I'm just born and raised in New York. I started riding on the wall with New York for a long time. Even when my family moved up to Long Island, same kind of thing. So, all the people in New York that are still out there, I know a lot of people have moved down south, and myself being one of them. If you're down there, I don't know what to tell y'all, but, get on phone. That's about it.
Well, brother, let me ask you a question here. How long you been out of New York?
I left New York 16, 17 years old, but my family still lives there, so I frequent back and forth. So I'm there almost every other month.
Okay. When did it become When did it become an arrestable offense for somebody insulting you in New York of all places? Since when did they start arresting you?
Arresting people for that?
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's not something. I've been insulted a lot of times when around New York, so it's never been arrested.
Well, I mean, they just arrested a black woman, and they can see the only thing she did was insult some Asian folk at their nail salon, and an Asian cop, and that was enough to them. And meanwhile, I'm pretty sure all the black police officers were like, wait a minute, we're arresting folk for throwing racial insults in? Where's this been for us for the last 100 years? When did we start doing this? When did this become part of police work? And I want folks to understand that is the deputization of white supremacy. That's how serious it really is. Thank you very much for giving us a call, man. You get called from area code 216 on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jason, this is Mark from Cleveland.
Mark from Cleveland, what's on your mind?
Oh, brother, this is right on point here. But I just want to say something to those Biden intellectuals out there. They got to hold this. They got to hold it. And I'm going to leave it here. But this is the refinement stage of systematic white supremacy. And I'm out, my brother. B1.
Blackbird, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You will believe it or you will live it. Caller from area code 916. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from 916. You're on live. Wake up.
Hi, Jason. This is Quee. I'm calling from Fact.
Okay, what was your name again? Okay, you're kind of mumbling into your phone. I'll give you one last try. What was your name again?
Quee.
Hello, Quee, and you're calling from where?
Sacramento.
Quee from Sacramento. What's on your mind?
So what's on my mind is that I am stressed how important it is to the family to conduct thorough research. And what I mean by that is I'm all for supporting my people. And I'm from Shreveport. I'm into the Sacramento area. I heard about the Stephon Clark on the news on CBS. I saw a clip of it, and I just wanted to support. So I went to the grand opening recently in March 18th. And again, I went to support. So when I was there, I was extremely uncomfortable. Families, they were singing church songs and kumbaya. It was ridiculous. I was embarrassed to even be there. And I heard you mention his name. So I just thought it would be important for me to call him and say, do research.
Well, let me find out here. How old are you, Queen?
I'm 37.
All right, Queen, you're 37 here. Let me find out here. Was this? This is just a couple of years ago. Is this something you were unaware of?
Yes, this is something I'm unaware of. I'm new to the Sacramento area, so I was completely unaware of it.
Okay, well, let me find out here. What was it that took you away from all the way from Shreveport 2,000 miles out to California. What brought you out there?
So I lived in Texas as well. I lived in Texas since 2005, and I've only been in Sacramento a little under 2 years.
Okay, she's on the run. But yeah, definitely hearing out. Because here's the thing, when did you first find out about the Stephanie Clark situation?
So I heard about it. It was mid-March, and again, it was just a small clip that I saw on the news.
Wait a minute, mid-March of this. Wait a minute, this mid-March of this year.
Of this year, yes, I just found out about it. So
okay. That was a good 3.
Yeah,
I won't say that was. I won't say that was closer to you. Said it was actually closer to 3 years ago. So you're finding out about it way late here. And like I guess the way they characterized it to you all in the media made you feel. How exactly did you interpret their characterization of it? What did you think was what happened?
So my interpretation was Stephanie Clark was murdered by the police. And when I hear about that, again, I did not conduct thorough research. I just wanted to go out to support.
Okay. That's a very interesting thing there. So you heard that he was murdered by the police from the news media?
Yes.
Okay. What exactly did they?
Yes.
What exactly did they? I mean, what exactly did they tell you? What exactly? In this case, I should just ask what you remember. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of information. So what do you remember?
Yes, I don't have a lot of information on the story. Again, I'm new to the area, and with COVID and everything being closed, things are just starting to open back up. So when I saw the clip on the news, I wanted to go out and support because I heard about the grand opening of a nonprofit that they were doing, and that's the type of work that I'm doing.
Okay. Well, for those of you who are unaware and whatnot, because we got to remind you here, we are the Black Media, Bowling Ball, Martin, and Kizzy, and do that, and the rest of the world. Clearly, they're still handing out this information out there. Unfortunately for Stephanie Clark, when we recount his life, the story doesn't begin on the night that we encounter the police, unfortunately. Or at least we could begin there, but the story isn't going to end there. It's always going to go back before what happened that night. And we here at the Black Channel, we have the distinction of being the folks who first brought that out, because we went back and took a look at his tweets. And we were the ones who first brought that out and said, hey, there's more to this story, and there's a reason why we are. Because folks were trying to egg me on and elbow me and tell me, hey, you speak about this. And I'm like, no, you haven't done enough looking into this. So Stephanie Clark allegedly was out there breaking in cars and whatnot, and ran from the police, and they cornered him in the backyard, basically. Claimed they saw a gun and gunned him down. And it turns out he didn't have anything on the roll. So that was what happened. That was the end of Stephanie Clark. But the beginning is the real issue. Because Stephanie Clark put up a bunch of tweets and whatnot, and was talking about, if black folk just obeyed the police, you wouldn't get shot, you wouldn't get killed. That was what he was saying before then. He put up tweets saying that. And then off we go. Then you find out he's got his Asian girlfriend and whatnot, and that can make you feel like, maybe that explains why he's saying some of the stuff that he was saying and whatnot, and pretending that racism didn't exist. Well, he certainly found out it existed that night now, didn't he? So then there was that. And then there was his brother, and I mean, his brother was just cool to beat the band when he at the funeral service. I mean, he was like, I went and got Stephan's weed. I'm just keeping it real with y'all there. I went and got, and we need to make sure that, everything is all right for them. And then when the city was talking about what happened to his brother Stevante, the one who was live, was talking, everything was a problem until the city announced the settlement. Then he told everybody to go home. After that, he loved the mayor. The mayor is great. You can go back to my archives, matter of fact. You can go back to that date back in, I want to say it's around 2018. You can go back there and go listen to my program then. We already dealt with all this, but you're absolutely right. People do need to do their research on these things because so much has happened and so many things continue to happen. It seems like we get new one every week. And they're rewriting the history as they go along. Now, when you talk about this nonprofit, they wanted to get millions, and this is what he said at the damn, at the funeral. with at the memorial was that they need the money so they can open a community center in Stephanie's name. So they've been working on that little con job now for years. But that they made it very, very clear that they want this to be a cash cow. In the chat room, everybody's saying, "Do you love me? Do you love me?" Yeah, they're right. So if you want to see a shameful display, just go and YouTube Stephanie Clark Memorial Service. And just get ready. All I can say is it's the most embarrassing thing you're going to see in quite a while. But yes, I mean, the baby was there at the memorial. You can watch it for yourself. Don't believe me. You can see it for yourself. They were sitting there campaigning and begging for money to start a community center at the memorial. So they very clearly saw that they very clearly angling for this to be a cash cow. So if you're saying what you're saying now, I'm like, well, yeah, but I would say this is old news. If you're saying they finally got around to, bringing it to fruition. But yeah, that's exactly it. And you all need to look into everything. Spoke didn't like when I made my first video about that, singing hymns while George walked after Walter Scott was killed. And then his mama's out there, forgive, and they brought the old church folk out there and whatnot. I'm like, no. We got to investigate everybody because they're not on code. And we got to investigate everything. And that does not mean that I approve of the police's actions. But understand, these folk are getting out here. You got folk out here using the deaths of their family members basically as a bounty and as a come up. Basically using it as a come up. Like, all right, this man dead, how many millions can I get from him? And that's literally what's going on here. And then you find out what's happening. When they start a little non-profit and the family is out here buying new cars and everything else. So just understand, yeah, everybody needs to do their research. We've probably already done it for people, but yeah, y'all need to start asking questions about everything and everyone on every level. Just because they're in the news, just because they got care about the police, we need to ask questions about them. Because you may, and like I said, I'm not even saying it will change what you do, but at the very least, you need to make an informed decision. You can make an informed decision about that. If you don't look at these things, and you realize, okay, is this really something that actually is deserving of your support? Those are questions that individuals need to ask. Somebody's going to tell you what it should or shouldn't be. All I'm saying is I'm here to report the news. I didn't tell anybody to do anything for that family or not do anything for that family. I just told them, by the way, I saw some things I think that we should be aware of because I know what our status on Black empowerment is. I just think there's some things I want to point out to see is this congruent